Hello and welcome, I'm Kira Scrivener, and today we're going to be doing a reading vlog. It is the 22nd of January, and this is probably going to be 24 to 72 hour reading vlog, and pretty much the purpose of this is because this wonderful beast of a book that I can't hold very well, this is the final book in the Arc of the Stags, which is a utopian story where death has been defeated and these people kill people, and it's very interesting. I love it for its themes, I love it for its discussions, and it's lovely. A lot of people haven't loved the conclusion of it, so I'm a little bit nervous. However, I have high hopes because I don't always love what other people love because I'm not like other girls. Oh, goodness. Anyways, that was a joke. However, I'm going to be finishing this because I'm going to be out of town for Thursday and Friday and visiting my grandparents who live about 2 hours away, so I'm going to be driving a lot, so I'm going to be doing the audiobooks of finishing up Call Down the Hawk, which is a sequel to The Raven Boys and follows Rowan Lynch as he dreams things and stuff, and other mysterious other characters that I'm not as huge fan of. And then we have Lovely War. This is historical fiction that takes place in World War I that has Aphrodite, the goddess of love, narrating it and kind of explaining why she keeps on banging other men, primarily Ares because he's the god of war. So that's gonna be interesting. I think I'm really excited for the light tone of this because I've been reading a lot of really like hard-hitting books and I need some fun breaks. So I'm excited for this. I am also needing to write and finish writing out a script for a public speaking engagement that I'm doing in a few weeks. So I'm a little nervous about that because it's primarily personal and very vulnerable and I have to do it today. So that's going to be wonderful. So officially I am on page 20 and I'm listening to Halsey because I'm actually appreciating her new music. I feel like the first time I listen to music I'm often a little bit like wary, like sometimes it falls into my heart and sometimes it takes a little while, and her new album is actually surprisingly I'm loving. The only one that I liked at first was 929 one. I really liked that one on top. Some of the other elements I liked. It was also like really late and I was really tired, but I am falling more in love with it as I listen to it, so I'm really appreciating that. So we're gonna check in a little bit later. My food is cooking and it's gonna be wonderful. Rooms with no overhead lighting was clearly not made for vlogging. However, here we are in front of the lamp, and I did not vlog yesterday. Things kind of spiraled. I fell asleep in the middle of the day, and then I ended up having supper with my friend who I was supposed to anyways, and she ended up sleeping over because of complications. So we ended up talking until really late, and I did not do any more reading. So I am still at 35 pages in the total. I finished Call Down the Hawk on the way to my grandparents, and it's hard for me. Maggie Spratter writes really, really well. However, I do not appreciate the fact that she took the focus off character dynamics and like just like everyday moments and like humor. Like I don't want to say the focus on humor, but like Raven Boys, one of my favorite points is that like everything is like kind of dripping in humor in every sentence, and it's definitely darker, which isn't. It's okay, but I guess it's hard because when you have expectations going into a book, you're bound to be disappointed, and I was definitely disappointed in this. And yet I think it was still a really quality book. I thought that the character Jordan Hennessy was very interesting. I was very intrigued, but I never latched onto her as a character. And I really, really loved that I got to see Declan's point of views because I always found him interesting. But Rowan, I didn't get a lot from Rowan, and Rowan's always been one of my favorite characters. And it hurts that there's not that dynamics because it's just really focused on them and their like solo journeys, which is cool and all, but it's hard. And I don't know. I'm still tentatively excited for the second one, and I'll definitely continue because I'm invested in the characters and I'm intrigued, but I think that the plot really took the focus over a lot of the elements that I really enjoy, just the everyday life and enjoyment of seeing these characters grow and develop. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm either going to start Lovely War and continue the whole. I'm not really sure which one I'm up to before I go to bed tonight, so I'll catch up. Hello, so it is now 11:45 and I'm going to bed on the 23rd. I started Lovely War and it's amazing. I'm an hour in and I'm just feeling all feels. I'm feeling all happy. I really like Aphrodite coming into different people's stories and just being all that awesome, and I'm appreciating it. So I can't wait to check in with you later. Hello, so it is now around noon on the 24th. I just got to my grandparents' seniors residence and I'm really excited because I'm loving Lovely War. Like, I like kind of predicted it was going to be a 5-star because I trust Kara like so much and she loves it so much, so I am just really loving it. Certainly there's 2 stories interchanging and we have narration from Aphrodite and Apollo so far, and it is lovely. We just met the second couple. I'm forgetting their names. One of the ones is James. I'm not sure who this is, but it's a black soldier And we met him in 1912 playing and when he fell in love with music, and that's told by Apollo. And then we have him in 1917, and he is part of one of the only black regiments in the US. And I keep on forgetting, I was like, why are they jumping to 1917? And I'm like, oh yes, because the US didn't start World War II until 1917. I always get that mixed up because obviously I'm Canadian, so I'm like, the war started in 1914 and 1939 instead of 1941, pretty much 42. Anyways, you guys started like 3 years later on both wars, so I always get confused with the dates. And what else am I saying? There was a really cool line. I've had Kara said before that like there's a really good job of discussing racism in a way that's really evocative, but not necessarily like, not that it's not gritty, but like doing it in a way that both allows the story to be told without it kind of being like tragic porn. And I really, really like that. I like the way that it's discussing. We've had like blackface performers discussed. We've had a really cool line from a character. I can't remember his name. Anyways, I'm not necessarily good at doing that in audiobooks, especially when their names aren't said a lot, but his name, he's like, I'm worried that I'm going to die for my country before, or sorry, I'm going to die in my country before I die for my country. And that's crazy. Like the fact that black soldiers wanted to fight for the US is crazy for me. Or Canada. There's racism in both countries, obviously, and around the world, sadly. However, the fact that like you are literally in danger in your country as much as you are in the trenches of France is like, why? Why is our world so crappy? So things you learn from being a seniors residence: your grandparents just steal straight from your seniors residence so that they can give you groceries. Second of all, they have Trump memorabilia so they can hit it when they're angry. And third, every person flirts with you, probably because you're the only person under 80, but it just gets weird after time. Anyways, I'm about to head back. I have 2 hours, so that should be about 6 hours of my audiobook because I listened to it on 3 times, and I'm very, very excited to check in, and I just really want to own this book and read it over and over again. I think it's going to be a favorite for a really long time. Don't disappoint me. It's going to be great. So I'm just so much in love. I am home now. I'm at 7 hours and 15 minutes, and it's around 3:34 in the afternoon, and I love this book so much. It is so well written, and I really enjoy her style, I think. I don't know how to describe it, but I love the way that she's able to have such evocative writing, and I love Colette so far. She is a Belgian. My parking brake isn't on. I'm going backwards. And no, she's a Belgian who experienced the horrors of the Germans sweeping through, and that's a perspective that's not often presented in regards to World War I, which is sad because like the majority of the fighting, especially for Canadian and American troops, were in Belgium, and yet it's not talked about. And I really enjoyed having her experience and the trauma around that and her relationship with Aubrey. And I think that because of the fact that it's issue of dealing with interracial relationships at a time when in the US it was illegal. I'm assuming it was never illegal in Britain because it was never illegal in Canada as well. But having their relationship as both of them come in a similar aspect of dealing with, I don't want to say discrimination because it's different for her, but it doesn't fall into the kind of like white savior kind of romance because of the fact that she also deals with the experiences of feeling unworthy because of the experiences she's gone through and like brokenness of PTSD and stuff of the attacks in Belgium. And obviously you don't need two people who are broken or have had a lot of really bad experiences to be in a relationship, but sometimes people can fit it in a way that seems like they're not like, you know, they're unevenly in a relationship. And I'm really appreciating the fact that it's not like someone is better than someone else, and I appreciate that. What else do I have to say? I really like that Hades is dressed like a Roman priest. I love whenever authors make a point to not have like Hades vilified, and he's not. Oh, I'm so happy to be in my bed, to have my hair up, and to be in more comfy clothes. And I really want to talk about infatuation and just insta-love because this is kind of insta-lovey, but it doesn't bother me, and I understand why other people said this as well. And I think a lot of it has to do with like war. Like when you're about to go and maybe die, I think that your feelings are a little bit more intense, and they are young and they're infatuated, and it never really says like you're the only person I could ever love, or like, you know, you're the love of my life or whatever. It's just they're really, really attracted to each other and they have this bond and they're talking about it. And I think that when you're going through these times of really emotional and you're spending every moment together for a few days, whether that's the love of your life, you're going to feel these things really strongly. And there are people that you just have great chemistry with right away. And I appreciate the fact that it's not like you're the only person I could ever love or like any of the things. They are connect really well and there's intensity to it. Plus you have, you know, the goddess of love pulling strings. And I do appreciate that. It's really framed as like, this is commonplace love. Like this isn't the epic love of an age or whatever. It's just these are people who fell in love because of love and war, and I appreciate that. I don't think it has to be grand specter, so it doesn't bother me that they fall in love really easily because that's, I think for me, it's part of the era and it's part of the feelings and everything around there. So those are my thoughts. I'm still really, really enjoying it and I love it. See, here I am, a hypocrite, falling in love with a novel I barely know at all. How can a nation produce both humble souls and killers? Is a quote on page 339, and this quote I love. It really talks to the poignancy of World War I because of the fact that we often see the Germans at fault, but no one was really more at fault than the other because it was just people's hubris and really bad and overtly complicated diplomacy that really ended with the war. And it speaks to the nuance of the fact that there isn't victors, there isn't heroes or villains. It really has everyone committed atrocities and everyone was hurt by the trauma of war and to different degrees. And I really love how this really shows that in such a real and authentic way. And I love the fact that who it's coming from and who it's about. And I love her writing. I think Julie Berry is a master. I'm not sure if this is like the zenith of her work, but I'm really excited to rediscover her and to finish this story. I'm getting close to the end. So my brain is kind of dead from all the driving and headachy from sleeping in someone else's bed. However, I decided to take a break and watch some television, and I'm watching the backdoor pilot of Arrow and the Canaries, and I'm surprised. My goodness, it has a way different feel to it than the flash forward in the later seasons and also just Arrow in general. And I don't know, I kind of like it. It's a little bit more jazzy, it's a little bit more upbeat. And currently at like 4 minutes in, I'm not surprised if it's picked up. So let's see. I think I'd watch it at this point. Let's see if my thoughts stay so positive. So in conclusion, I think I would watch the Green Arrows and the Canaries if it went to season. I'm intrigued by some of the things they set up and some of the duality of things after a crisis. So we'll think about this. Legends of Tomorrow is one of my favorite shows ever, and I'm very, very happy that I am getting to watch the premiere. So if you've only ever watched Legends of Tomorrow Season 1, you'd be very confused because it took itself way too seriously in Season 1, and then the last 4 seasons have just been them being ridiculously funny. So they're beginning this season with a mockumentary, which is just great. Werewolf, also former vegetarian. It's just really funny and lovely, and like there's already been so many like clever nods and like things to things they don't know and things we know, and I'm so excited. I cannot express my happiness that the show is back. Hello, so it's now a conclusion to this vlog. It is now 2 a.m. and I get distracted because I finished Lovely War and I was like, I may as well write the review before I kind of give you my final thoughts, and then that led to me thinking about the fact that it was magical realism, and then that conversation on book Twitter and about how Rune was like, this is cultural appropriation, so I did a lot of research, and then I was like, this is way too long to talk about in a vlog, so I need to make a discussion, and then I was like, oh, I need to get showered and get ready and all of that, and then I was like, this is way too late in my life. Yeah, so the conclusion in that is that I really liked Lovely War. I think that the framing of the mythological events and things like that was really cool, and I think that I highly recommend it. It is really informative historical fiction, which I think is a really important time. Obviously, reading for just fun is a great pastime, but also reading for education, and I think that you can learn a lot about the war and have that through this. And I also really appreciate the fact that it calls back to the fact that it's Greek mythology a lot of times, and we get a fresh take on a lot of the heroes, and I really appreciate that. Heroes, I mean the gods, as well as just looking at ordinary people's lives, and I really appreciate that. World War I is one of my favorite time periods, especially the lead up and a lot of the looks of it, because it's such a unique time in history of just genesis and changing of the world. Like, the world would never be the same after 1918. So I just think it's very interesting. And then all of that wonderfulness. And then what else did we learn? We learned that even though this vlog was mainly to finish The Toll. I read 15 pages of The Toll, so good job, Kier. We're all proud of that. We learned that I actually really like Halsey's Aluminic. We learned that The Toll, not The Toll, the Call Down the Hawk was a novel that was good. However, it was not to the taste, especially after reading The Raven Boys. I thought that it diverged a lot, which I guess is not something that I can necessarily complain about, but you know, I want to complain because I'm a subjective reader sometimes, and it was much more plot-centric as well as solo-centric, which are things that I really appreciated the Raven Boys not being very heavy on. And we watched The Green Arrows and the Canaries backdoor pilot. We thought it was good. It has potential. And we watched the premiere of Legends of Tomorrow season 5, and it is excellent. You should check that out. Maybe skip the first season, but you know, even if you don't like superheroes, it's just fantastic and it will bring joy to your life. And now we're at Lovely War, and it was excellent. I've had a really good reading vlog, other than The Toll. We don't need to talk about that, and the library failures that are totally burning up on my account right now. In conclusion, happy reading and writing. Check me out on social media because I talk about those, or just, you know, message me because I like talking about books and I like bookish friends, so those are lovely. And I'll continue to make videos in which I discuss books. I will see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself.